Hi, good afternoon. I'm David Foster, President of the Highstead Foundation and Senior Conservationist of the Harvard Forest. And I'd like to welcome you to the conversation, Saying Yes to Wildlands and Woodlands. The Harvard Forest and Highstead Foundation are pleased to host this afternoon's program in collaboration with a few of the many partners in the Wildlands and Woodlands Initiative, Kestrel Land Trust, the New England Forestry Foundation, and the Northeast Wilderness Trust. With that, I'd like to welcome you again to Saying Yes to Wildlands and Woodlands, which is brought to you by the Wildlands and Woodlands Initiative. And I'd like to start by introducing Kristen DeBoer, who will serve as our moderator, and then we'll join with our two conversationalists in discussion in the second part of the program.
We have lots of questions, 50 in fact. And I've tried to group them together and a few themes. So if we can have both Jon and Bob join me on the screen, then I think we can start this last section after two very good presentations with a little conversation in the Zoom universe we all live in. It's good to see some people I know on the Q&A too. Shout out to Rick Vanderpool from Antioch. I haven't seen you in decades. All right, so I'm going to start with a question about carbon credits. There are several of them, and I will ask one of them, which is, are carbon trusts or voluntary carbon credits a scam? Or are they an opportunity for the landowner to realize a financial return on forest land, which may not require logging trees for wood as a commodity, and instead allow their owner to be able to leave trees to grow older? Is this a model that makes sense in light of the climate emergency? So I think if you could both comment a little bit more about carbon credits, particularly the sale of them and how that relates to private landowner.
Bob, do you want to start on that and I can chime in?
Sure, and I think part of that question was oriented towards voluntary credits. So you may have seen an article in Bloomberg in the last week that really took this issue to task, and our friends at the Nature Conservancy to task as well. I think it's a viable path forward. And it surprises me that on one hand, people say we're harvesting too much, and then they make the argument that we shouldn't give people credits because they're not going to harvest. So I don't think they understand the world of the private forest landowner. And when you do understand that, you can see, I think, how credits to them can be helpful for them doing a better job.
Yeah, so I agree with that. I'll just speak briefly on our personal relationship with carbon. Northeast Wilderness Trust is engaged in the carbon market. We've sold credits on the California regulatory market, but we've also engaged in the voluntary market, as Bob was just talking about. And through our Wildlands partnership, we are hoping to encourage land trusts that we're partnering with to work on or in that voluntary market. And in those cases, again, I'm only speaking from Northeast Wilderness Trust's perspective, every project that is enrolled in our carbon program will have a Forever Wild easement on it. And I think that that's real permanent conservation that makes a difference and guarantees that, at least for these projects, the landowners and the land trusts, in some cases, that get revenue from that are guaranteeing to both the company buying those credits and to the general public that those forests will be protected forever. So I think that there's an incredible value to be working in the carbon markets, and it's going to increase conservation quite a bit in our region.